Let's learn more about style, shall we? Welcome to the art of dressing.
I'm going to start from my right to introduce Mr. Wayne. Mr. Wayne, how's it going?
It's a good day. It's a good day. It's a good day to have a good day.
Perfect. And sitting next to you is your wife.
Yep, Miss Tanya.
How are you doing today?
Doing excellent. Thank you for having us.
And we have Jessica. How are you doing today?
Doing very well. Glad to be here. Thank you for having us.
And finally, we have Derrell.
I am Derrell. Yes, sir.
How you doing, man?
Doing really well.
So I want to start with you. I just wanted to take a brief moment and give us kind of a few things about your background.
So for the audience, you might hear it a little bit. I have a little bit of an Irish accent. It comes out every once in a while. I came here in 2008. I ended up joining the military. My dad was in the Marine Corps. I ended up joining the Army. So I did 15 years in the Army. I just recently got out, but the reason why I got out is because I fell in love with entrepreneurship around 2015, 2016. Myself and my wife, we both started doing real estate, and then we both got certified life coaches just to kind of help people, you know, because eventually we're going to be working with other people. But what happened was around 2020, when the pandemic hit, both of us, we kind of got out of the real estate, went towards the financial aspects of real estate. So now we do like a lot of creative financing through, you know, life insurance, annuities, wealth management, and things like that.
What about you? A little bit about your background as well.
So, I'm originally from Colorado, born and raised, 3 beautiful daughters. But I stumbled upon this Irishman, and we both got into, like you mentioned, real estate and then finance.
How do you like being out here in Houston? I have to ask.
It's not Colorado, but I do love it. I love the big city. I love the people out here are actually really great. Everybody's super nice. The humidity is, it is what it is. But overall, I absolutely love Houston.
You know, I will say this before I move on to you. Most people look down on the big city. And I always tell people, before you do that, come to Houston, spend some time here. I promise you, we're going to change your mind somehow.
I love it. I just can't get used to the heat though, because I grew up in Ireland. It's like, I think in the summertime it's 60 degrees.
Yeah, no, I can't get used to the heat either, but you know, I'm getting used to it. Just stay indoors and, you know, get some AC on you during the heat and you should be fine. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Jessica Anderson. I'm the owner of Wonderland Event Childcare. We socialize and we provide childcare for social events. So when companies and conventions come to the great city of Houston, we're there to provide our sitters for anyone who's traveling and our traveling families. I've been a teacher for 16 years, and I've stepped out into owning my own company. I've been doing that for 9 years. So next year will be 10 years fully immersed. So I'm super excited to be here to speak with you all today.
All right. Well, Derrell Anderson. I am team lead broker associate for Anderson Lux Living Group. So I have a team, a small team of agents. Prior to becoming a real estate broker, I was also in education. So I taught for 10 years, high school science.
Wow.
So I did that.
This is some kind of teacher romance, huh? All right. Just had to put that out there. Okay.
So taught for 10 years, and then something caught my attention, real estate. So I kind of wanted to jump out there and see what that was all about. And I'm so glad that I did. So no looking back.
I'm sure that we all have very incredible stories to tell. What does style mean to you as an individual?
I think style could be the great equalizer in many cases. Like when you're going out, I always think about like when you feel good. Well, when you look good, you feel good, and that kind of portrays into like your business. So when, you know, you may not be having the greatest day, but you have on a good pair of Gucci shoes, or you have a good pair of, you know, you have your hair done, and it's just bringing that style sense together. It shines without you even having to say one word.
That reminds me of a story, because you got to spend some time with Katy Perry's fashion designer. And I eavesdropped, a stylist, and I got to eavesdrop on the conversation. And she said, one thing that I picked up was, if you're having a bad day or just things are not going right for you, go home and change your clothes.
Yeah.
Go put on something nice, because it makes you feel good about yourself, especially in business as well. Like having that classy look gets you the first step in the door. So I think it's very, very important as a business owner.
I agree.
Of course, when you exude confidence, people will notice that when you walk into the room. So it's like making a bold statement without having to say anything, right?
When you say confidence, what do you mean by that individually from your perspective?
For me, it's like you feel competent when you're confident. Like you feel like you can do things that you've never even done before, but you feel like you can do them. You know, I don't feel like anxiety and confidence can't coexist. You know, there's plenty of times where I went into situations, especially with the military, no background in it, but I just had the confidence in my training to get me through it. You know, and because I had that confidence, I was able to make calm, collective decisions based off it, and they're not based on anxiety. But I think most of all, I think competency comes from confidence, and I think confidence also breeds competency.
So confidence, when I think of that, it's not an air of superiority or cockiness. I think it's just not having to, you know, compare yourself to anybody else, you know, and especially when you're like you mentioned, Jessica mentioned, you know, when you look good, you feel good, and you can
Believe in yourself.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to take on the word strong. Like when I feel confident, I feel strong. I feel like I can walk into any room. I feel like, you know, I'm coming to, as the kids say, stand on business, you know.
Stand on business.
So that's what it feels like when I'm confident. I know that I'm coming in and I'm ready for whatever. Literally, I'm ready for whatever because I feel strong.
People will kind of follow your lead, so to speak, and it kind of brings up the energy in the room, if you will.
So that's what confidence does.
People are attracted to confidence. You walk into a room, like anyone here, you know, like if we're in a room full of people, maybe not like an overcrowded room, people are drawn towards confident people. We look for leadership as well. So we're always drawn to that confident leader. Yeah. So being dressed well exudes the confidence in you as well. When I look at a good leader, I know, like when I look at leaders, they're fit, they dress well, they're groomed well, they present themselves well, they have good posture, you know, and when I see that when I walk into a room, I can tell like that guy's a leader.
Well, I have this conversation with you know, my single friends, with just single people in general when I go out. And they're like, well, I don't have anybody to dress up for. Why should I bother dressing up? Like, I don't have anybody to do it for. I don't care about it. So from your perspective as, you know, people who've been married for a while, what do you think it is that should motivate people when they don't have somebody loving and supportive next to them? What do you think should motivate them?
I think it's interesting, just kind of in the kind of the day and the space that we live in. A lot of us work from home. A lot of us, you know, like we're not really out and about. We're not really mingling with others. And I can very well see how many of us have adapted that, like, who am I doing it for? Like, you know, I'm doing like a lot of my best work at home behind, like in my room.
Right.
So
do you think the pandemic threw us into that?
Absolutely.
Oh,
I think
It's definitely a big contributor to it.
I think that catapulted us being
and not just in fashion, in a lot of different ways.
So we're able to do a lot of things in our PJs and do it well. So
So it's like, why go the extra mile?
Since this conversation has led us to why they shouldn't, why should they?
Happiness comes from within, not from the outside. You know, we're not codependent on other people. And a lot of people, they think that they need the outside world to happen first before they can feel good on the inside. But it's actually the opposite. You need to work on your inside first, and then everything on the outside starts to work. So if you're going out to dress, don't dress for other people, dress for yourself. You know, because even when you walk into a room, you're walking down the street, you feel good. You stand up straight, you look like going back to confidence, you feel proud. It makes you feel good. It makes your day better.
I'm also thinking about like instant gratification as well, because we scroll through Instagram and you're looking at the beautiful people that is very curated. Like it's like I woke up like this, but you didn't. No. So, but you know, I think with that instant gratification, it's sort of like what people are looking for. And if you're not showing me that quickly, you know, you're coming out, you know, with your ripped jeans or, you know, your unironed t-shirt. It's like, I don't know if I've been out of the game for a while, but I don't know if people are looking at you that way because we want to see something very pretty, something quick, and that you're really put together.
And it's the small things that are most important, especially in business.
Yeah.
You know,
me, when I dress well and go to events or what have you, it makes you stand out, right? And then it gets you invited to other events. It opens doors for you that may not have been open for you if you were in your jeans and t-shirt that day. So I don't know, I'm always looking for how can I move up? How can I be in a room with people that are doing better than I am? You get into rooms that you would not have gotten into if you had not had the confidence or showed up looking like you were going.
I think you should expound on that story. You know, we were taking the certification years ago to become teachers, and we had no idea what we were doing. Like, we were fresh out of college, we had no idea. But we went in and we took the test, and I think we didn't even pass the test like the first time. But the lady was like, "You guys are so nicely dressed. You guys look so cute." She saw something in us, and I know it had to be just appearance because she didn't know us personally, and we were able to move to the next step.
That's something that Mike Tyson said at an interview. You don't get to wear the belt and then act like a champion. You got to be a champion before you earn the belt, right? So that's kind of like what you said, like, you know, like, you got to start presenting yourself professionally, and then everything, like, then the business will start coming to you. You're not like, oh, I got to be a professional first and then I'll dress like a professional. Now I got to start with small things first. At the beginning, you're going to have to try until it starts to feel, it becomes part of who you are.
Your identity.
Yeah.
No one is born with style. Buying the cool 2024 shoes is not the same as having style.
You know, that's developed like through your parents and society growing up as kids, you know, like I used to have style and I lost my style, and then my wife was like, you need to pick up your style.
Based on what we see on social media, I'm of the opinion that style and class goes hand in hand. Some people believe differently. You cannot be stylish without being classy.
I think at the end of the day, we need to be respectful
Be a gentleman and a lady.
to society and to ourselves, and that's why there should be a standard and a level of class.
This is what I see, gentleman, you know. I see gentleman right there. I see lady. But I know what you're talking about. Like, and I know each person has their individual style, you know. But there is.
I think there has to be some.
Sometimes you just have to turn your style down
Yes.
Sometimes, maybe, yeah.
and turn up the class.
For me, I just think classic, simplicity, beauty, it doesn't go out of style. You don't have to try when you just have that classic, elegant look. So when you have those elements, I don't need the split to go up.
You don't need that extra attention. Well, you can get attention, right, and still be classy about it, and probably get more attention.
I would say this: how you dress is your message to the world. If you're single, and I'm kind of talking to the females because, like you said, like, man, we don't have as many options. If you are, you know, run the split like that, you know, you might give out the message like, hey, I'm single, I'm ready to have a relationship. Now, if you're not and you're married and you're having a little bit more exposure, you're giving the wrong message to certain people.
And I think it's important for people to dress classy and stylish. And like you said, your face and how you dress is your business card before you pull out your business card. And you want to make sure that that stays at the absolute top level. So every time I travel in a suit. Now, every time I talk about this with people, I get very strong objections about it because everybody always hits me with the, oh no, I want to be so comfortable. Like, that's just stressful. Why would you do that? The incredible thing that's happened to me, and the reason why I'm never going to stop doing it, is now when I travel, I get so many business opportunities just by sitting at the airport. I have people just walk up to me randomly and tell me, you look incredible. Oh my, I love your jacket. Like, what do you do? What business are you in? What line of work are you in? Just because of how I'm dressed. There's a lot of business opportunities that can come from it. I want to hear your perspective as someone who is stylish and as someone who likes to be comfortable.
I can see both sides to the story. But what's most important to you? Your comfort or being a professional for your business? Because for me, a business it's a lifestyle as a business owner. You know, it's not something you just turn off and turn on it between 9 and 5. In the military, in the early years in the military, we had to fly in uniform. We had to look professional. You know, except for like when we were flying overseas and stuff, we were like, no, these civilians. There used to be a point where you had to wear your dress uniforms and not your everyday uniform. I like being in a suit for the exact same reason that you said, because, you know, business it's a lifestyle. So it opens the opportunity where people approach me like, hey, you look sharp. What do you do for a living? Oh, I do this and I do that. You're like, no way. I've actually been looking for somebody that can help me with my finances. Let me get your business card.
So when we're in the airport, we make sure that he has his company's logo on the shirt. I make sure I have my company's logo on the shirt. And it's just wherever we go, we're branded with our businesses. So it may not be a suit because when you have toddlers, our girls are 9 and 13 now. But there had come a time like we had like a car seat, we had luggage, we had a baby bag, and we did not have a suit. He did not have a suit on, but he was branded. So I think maybe that could be the harmony between getting business. It may not be aesthetically, but I saw that business name, and when I see it again, it's like, oh, I saw, maybe someone can recall it that way.
Listen, if I could be that girl, it girl at the airport, because I feel like, especially when you're like traveling, you're going on vacation, I want to step off that plane into that airport.
We would travel
looking
a lot.
Good, right?
Yeah.
But when you're traveling, like,
We used to travel a lot. Like,
Yeah.
we were always on planes.
I will opt for comfort. I'm sorry, I am that person. I mean, I'll still get ready and do
It's-
my hair and makeup and have some level of.
I'll tell you what though is a big game changer is when you're flying coach versus first class. I've been lucky enough to fly first class just simply because I was military overseas. Like at that point, like
feel like that'll change your outlook
you should
on
be in
how
a suit.
you
Yeah.
should be at the airport. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a lot more comfortable, in your suit, so it doesn't really make things as uncomfortable.
I should say this. Here's the nuance, okay? The nuance is this. I shop my travel attire from a specific designer. They're stretchy, they're comfortable, and they're very relaxed, but they still look as professional as possible.
I was renting a room. I had a room to rent, and she messaged me. She's like, "Hey, I'm looking for a room. You got a room? Let's talk." So we were on the phone, and she was like, "Where are you from?" And I was like, "Ireland," and she's like, "Oh my god."
Yeah.
So-
So we. Yeah. But I was looking like a bum. So I guess on some level,
I know what she saw. What did you see?
I just seen a girl that was just down to earth in herself, and that's what I liked about her. And we tried to keep it as professional as possible, and it just we couldn't.
It just escapes. It
yeah,
escapes
just
the
escaped it.
realm of
Yeah.
professionality.
We sat there for a while in our first meeting, drinking
so it's
tea
a
and
very good
laughing and
example,
joking.
and I know that this isn't what the moral of this show is about, but it's a very good example of how sometimes it doesn't matter what you wear.
I was gonna say that. I was just going to say that because I was gonna bring it back to you and say this. We as men, we know this, right? Because women always think it's how I look or the amount of effort I put into like my makeup or dress is what's going to get his attention and get him to fall in love with me. But we know that's not true, right? We know. This is between the three of us. We know that's not true.
So I thought she was pretty when I met her. And she came up, she was just getting over the flu, like 0 F's given,
She's still sneezing.
And no, were you? No, you weren't.
I was
Dying.
Dying.
But you can see like natural beauty, and you can be like, that girl would look really good dressed up. I don't need her to be dressed up in order for me to see that. Right.
He knew I cleaned up well.
Right, please.
I think the takeaway is classic socks, classic style, a classic beauty. It never goes out of style. So, I try to keep that as like what is the cleanest, the classic. You don't have to do too much to be so much.
Well, I want to thank every single one of you for making the time to be here today. I've absolutely enjoyed this conversation. It's important to have this conversation not just from a professional perspective, but from an everyday perspective. And that's what I loved about this conversation today. Real people living in style and still waking up every day to do it. I absolutely love that. That has been an incredible conversation. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also follow our Instagram account at The Art of Dressing. And we'll see you on the next episode.